87 days at the highest level of his government, repeatedly taking efforts to bring this war to an end. We are now reaching a point where we need to decide and determine whether this is even possible or not, which is why we're engaging both sides.
Yemen's Houthi rebels say that U.S. airstrikes targeting a major oil port, killing dozens and injuring at least 170 others. Satellite images of the port provided by Planet Labs PBC showed destroyed oil tanks and vehicles. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Let me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too with their 3-week quick start kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Progressive knows when you're in your RV, you're already on vacation. That's when you become Vacation You, who just camped where there's absolutely no shade. Even though regular you burns easily. In fact, Vacation You burns too, but is too stubborn to admit it, which is why regular you gets in trouble at the dermatologist, because Vacation You doesn't do doctors. So bundle your RV with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
5.
The new U.S. ambassador to Japan says he's optimistic this country and the key Asian ally will reach a deal in their tariff negotiations.
George Glass, who has a background in finance, investment banking and technology, arrived as Washington and Tokyo are negotiating President Donald Trump's tariff measures.
And when I saw that President Trump then decided he was going to get involved and has now named this his top priority, that's why I have a lot of confidence that we'll get something done.
His arrival comes a day after the two countries held their first round of tariff talks, where both sides agreed to try to reach an agreement as quickly as possible and hold a second round of meetings later this month. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
The president's executive order to boost U.S. commercial fishing industry has drawn praise from commercial fishing groups and condemnation from environmental groups. President says his order will help U.S. commercial fishing industry by peeling back a number of old regulations. Breaking news and analysis, townhall.com.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. Clear and comfy tonight with a low temp dipping down to 60. Tomorrow, more sunshine than clouds, will be warmer. The high temperature is 88. For Easter Sunday, cloudy all day, but we do stay dry. The high is 86. Next rain is set for probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk here on the Sports Talk Media Network on a this would be a frenzied Friday here on Sports Talk because there's just so much going on. You know, I love the fall. I love football season more than anything else. You know why? Because, I mean, it's pretty much all you got going on. Yeah, there's soccer and maybe a couple of other things, but it's football. Here in the spring, many different things going on. We are here at RBC Heritage at Harbor Town, Sea Pines, Hilton Head, whatever location you want to use to describe it. We are here for round number 2, which is over, and we'll fill you in on everything in just a moment. Plus, you've got baseball going on, South Carolina, Clemson, Coastal, others all playing. College of Charleston's already played and won today. You've got South Carolina women winning the SEC Golf Championship today. Plummer, Who did the Gamecocks happen to beat today? Dun, 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 dun. Who they happen to beat today in the SEC Women's Golf Championship, Plummer?
I'm just not sure. I have no clue.
Let me help you with that. Dun, 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 dun.
Up until 5 minutes ago, Josh had no idea that Florida had a women's golf team.
I didn't even know they had a golf team.
This is news. This is news.
Nor do I really care. I don't care.
Anyway, congratulations, South Carolina women's golf team winning the SEC championship today. We'll talk more about that coming up. George Bryan, deep dive into golf tonight at 7:30. We got a lot of things to cover with GB3 tonight. A lot of issues, a lot of golf talk, birdies, bogeys, and biceps coming up at 7:35 tonight. And Rudy Jones, 7:05, will touch them all as we cover the baseball scene for you. No Jeff Owens tonight, no race this weekend, no big race, no cup race. And so he's traveling Easter holiday weekend, and so he will not be with us tonight, back with us next week. And we have, of course, Chris Bergen back at the Berge Studios in Sardis after a trip to the upstate last night.
Yes, really enjoyed it. Want to thank Mike Foster and David Wyatt and the gang with the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. That was a really well-run event last night. A lot of celebrities in the building last evening up there at the Hotel Harkness, and really enjoyed being up there. That was a lot of fun. Really was.
What did you think of that hotel?
It's amazing. It is amazing and way out of my price range. I told my wife, I said, it might be something maybe for a special anniversary, we might be able to go stay there. Otherwise, it's a beautiful facility, though. I mean, it's a facility. It's not just a hotel. That is an entire sort of campus. It was interesting. They've got, a restaurant that's got its own building, and then sort of a craft brewery type place. It's got its own building, and then the hotel itself. So, yeah, just a lovely facility up there.
All right. Of course, South Carolina football tonight. Going to have the spring game over at Williams-Brice Stadium. They're going to kick that off at 7:30, more or less. And Matt Smith's going to be over there for us, and he'll join us about 7:20, kind of give us an update, a feel for how things are going over there at the spring game tonight. Of course, the spring game, well, your spring game, of course, you want to come out of it with no injuries. You don't want to lose a significant player or any player, but in particular a significant player. You don't want to lose a player in a meaningless spring game, but Shane Beamer is going to have a game. He believes his guys want the competition, want to play in front of a nice crowd at Williams-Brice. And there's some things to be answered here. In particular, I think most people will be tuned in to see, when I say tuned in, I mean in person. There's no television. They'll be tuned in to see what happens with the QB2 situation, because that's still up in the air behind Lenore Sellers. Who's going to shine under the lights at Williams-Brice tonight? And don't think that won't go a distance, Berge, in deciding who the backup is.
I think so. I mean, that's your best gauge going into the offseason, because next up will be the start of fall camp in late July. I mean, you have the offseason workouts and the like, but I think, Phil, in some regards, and we have to face facts here, you're looking at a situation with Aaron Nolan, Cutter Woods, who else is battling in that backup role? If two of those guys probably not going to be on the Gamecock roster come the fall.
You would think not. Not. I mean, unless, of course, you are thinking that these guys are still young and they can
Dante
be
Reno
patient.
was the other one I was trying to think of.
Yeah, and they know that Lenore Sellers, in all likelihood, if he has the kind of year he's expected to have, he'll move on, and then it'll be open competition. But then again, they're going to be recruiting more quarterbacks coming in the 26 class to compete with you as well. But there's no end to that. If you're afraid of competition, as apparently a lot of these kids are, if you're afraid of competition, then you're always going to find yourself in the transfer portal, John. A former Gamecock running back, Rashad Amos, is now going to be transferring to his fifth school, his fifth Division I school.
I get to see him again.
5 different Division I schools. I mean, come on. There's just there was a story today. There was a story today about a player, a transfer player. Today, he did this all today. Apparently, early today, he signed with North Carolina, and now he's going to Texas, all within the matter of a few hours. He
Is
either
that the quarterback
committed or
from South Alabama?
No, this is a lineman.
No. Okay.
This is a lineman, yeah. Signed with, committed to, signed with. I think the wording I read was signed with North Carolina, but now he's going to Texas. This is what happens when the adults check out. No, seriously. This is what happens when the adults check out, and they have checked out. I mean, the NCAA's checked out. There's nobody holding anybody accountable here except, of course, now I blame coaches for this. I blame coaches for not respecting. I mean, their belief is if a guy commits, that's all the more reason to up the ante. I mean, this is backroom smoky night deal making of the highest, and there's no respect among the coaches, among these general managers, whoever it is who are doing these negotiations. They don't call the dogs off. If they think they can get a guy who's already signed with or committed somewhere else, they're still turning up the heat and trying to get him because apparently there's nothing that holds a player to his word or his signature in the transfer world at this point in time. That's all I can figure.
I don't understand this whole scenario. If you are signed, you've committed, you've gone beyond the commitments. I get the verbal commitment never meant anything, and we saw this even before the transfer portal, Phil. We saw coaches continue to recruit kids who were committed to another school because they realized their word and their bond didn't mean a whole lot. But then you sort of backed off when the guy actually signed the letter of intent with the school. Now we have kids who sign, and in 2 weeks they're gone, and evidently in 2 hours in this case they are gone to another school. So it's the wild, wild west is not the best way to describe it because I think there were some rules in the wild, wild west.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's no rules now.
It's very, it's bothersome for those of us who've watched this thing, and it's irritating. Levon Johnson, a Maryland transfer. It says here, this is by Pete Nakos on 3. Maryland transfer defensive lineman, because they reported this earlier. Maryland, unless they have their information wrong. They could have their information wrong and they're CYAing. But Maryland transfer defensive lineman Levon Johnson, who signed a contract earlier today with North Carolina, has now signed with Texas. On 3 Sports has learned. So if he actually signed a contract with North Carolina, why don't you put your foot down? I mean, they actually have here in their transfer portal website the image of him, of him committing and signing with. They refer to him as a signee, not a commitment. Seems to me like when you sign that paper, just like with Trayson Eaglestaff with South Carolina. South Carolina announced him as a signee. How do you let him just walk with no penalty?
I don't understand. I mean, I can't understand how coaches can see this as a good thing. And again, none of them want to comment on anything. I mean, you asked the question of Clayton White the other day at the press conference just to comment about one of the guys that South Carolina has brought in and signed prior to the part of the transfer portal opening up. And he said he was unsure if he could even comment on that. The problem is the coaches are afraid to say anything, even if they can comment, Phil, because as you correctly pointed out, they're afraid it'll be used against them. Heck, if I'm a coach, I'd rather have that used against me now because me not saying anything, certainly not making waves and not changing anything.
Well, you know who's not afraid is Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders has called out Virginia for tampering with his roster. He's called out Tony Elliott by name, by school, for what he calls tampering. Virginia, you got to stop, he wrote. Virginia, you got to stop. I let you have one and didn't say nothing about it. So this has to do with Colorado defensive back Carter Stoudemire and offering him a bag, as it says here. So you know what? Kudos. Finally,
yes.
somebody with a spine, somebody with a backbone. And if coaches who are trying to do it right, and you know what? Let's give Deion Sanders credit here. A lot of people didn't think he would do it right. Maybe he's doing it right. If he's doing it right, now if you call somebody out, you better have a clean house. You know, what's the saying? You don't throw rocks
if you live
from
in a glass house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You better have a clean house yourself if you're calling out somebody else. So good for him for getting that done. Very irritating stuff today. Let me get to something that's not irritating, and that's where things stand here after 2 rounds of the RBC Heritage. Another beautiful day here on the island. The winds were not significant. Again, I got a chance to walk around and came up through 16, 17, 18. Wanted to see what the wind was doing back on the backside there, and not all that brisk, not all that troublesome. Supposed to pick up a little bit more tomorrow. Now, the weather's still good. No rain in the forecast, but supposed to be stronger gusts, a little more wind tomorrow. Justin Thomas going to sleep on the lead overnight, staying on top of things after his 61 yesterday. A 2 under 69 today puts him at 12 under par. He's got he has got a 2-shot lead over Si Woo Kim from South Korea. 64 for him today. Si Woo Kim, young man who lost in a playoff here a few years ago and obviously likes it here. Russell Henley, who has some ties to South Carolina, 68, and he is at 10 under par. So Thomas at 12 and Si Woo Kim and Russell Henley at 10. Then Wofford Grant, Andrew Novak, very good day for him, a 65. He's at 9 under with Tommy Fleetwood, who had a 66 today. Give you some idea about the wind. I mean, there was wind out there. I walked out to 9. Wind was blowing down number 9 behind the golfers. Now, if you know 9, they've jacked that tee back as far as they can on number 9. And Tommy Fleetwood hit his drive with the wind at his back. Had he hit it straighter, he would have, if he could have gotten over the bunker. There's a bunker that protects the front of the green, but he hit it to the right. But he was like pin high to the right on his drive. And then he had to chip up, and he missed his birdie putt. But my point is, I mean, he was basically driving the green with that wind behind him. So that wind can obviously have a big impact on the way things go here. So Tommy Fleetwood in at 9, Novak in at 9, and in at 8 under par, Mackenzie Hughes. And then there is the little Scotty Scheffler after a 70 today. He is tied for 6th. Mackenzie Hughes had a 66 today. Fleetwood had a 66 today. So the low round of the day, Si Woo Kim with the 64, and it's put him up at the top as he will go into the third round tomorrow, chasing Justin Thomas, as will Russell Henley. I'm trying to think. Now the rule is, as far as the pairings go tomorrow, first in, first out.
Last out.
First in, last out. Yeah, you're
correct.
Right. First in, last out. Trying to remember who was in earlier. I think Henley was the second one in, so I guess it'll be Kim and Thomas playing tomorrow together. I'll have to get the pairing sheet here in a little bit and take a look at that. But that's how things are shaping up. A few other scores of note. Brian Campbell lives over at Bluffton, 6 under par for him. Tied for 13th after a 70. Jordan Spieth, a 70. He's at 5 under. Lucas Glover, a 70. He's at 4 under. Ricky Fowler, a 67 at 3 under. Justin Rose, 72 after a 67 yesterday. He's at 3 under. Former Clemson star Jacob Bridgman, a 69. He's at 2 under. Remember now, this is a no-cut event because it's a select event on the PGA Tour with a $20 million purse. The winner will make over $3 million on Sunday afternoon.
Not a bad weekend.
Not a bad payday. Not a bad payday.
Yeah, I was joking about the cut line yesterday, so yeah, I'm glad you caught that and corrected me because, this is no cut, so all 72 guys will get to play.
Yeah, let's do the baseball. You know, we said last night, had a feeling South Carolina might do something good this weekend against Ole Miss. Never in my wildest dreams did I think Stone would go and throw a complete game. And then McCoy has given them 6 1/3 innings of 3-hit ball. So there are 2 starters in their outings, 9 innings last night, a 6-hitter, if my memory's right, and then McCoy today, a 3-hitter, as he pitched into the 7th. Jones is on right now, and the Gamecocks are leading in the top of the 8th, 5-1. Looking to win this series against Ole Miss. How about this? Yeah.
Yeah, evidently if you're the Gamecocks and you struggle and you need somebody to right the ship for you, bring Ole Miss to Columbia. I did not realize this. Mike Morgan was talking about it on the broadcast. Ole Miss has never won a series in Columbia. Against the Gamecocks. Evidently the Gamecocks just figure out a way to play really well against Ole Miss. And last night you got to tip a cap, and I could not have been more wrong on Brandon Stone, because he was terrific, Phil, last night. 86 pitches. It reminded me of some of Greg Maddox's games when he pitched for the Braves and would work through 9 innings in like an hour and a half. I mean, he was terrific last night. Kept filling up the strike zone, just threw strikes. It's amazing what happens when you don't walk people. He walked, let's see, last night he walked nobody. And that's how you get through a game and throw 86 pitches and pitch a complete game. First time for the Gamecocks in several seasons they had a complete game. He was awesome. And Jake McCoy, to his credit, has backed it up today and pitched just about as well.
And they got home runs from Hall and home run from Jackson, and they've scored 5 unanswered runs. They've only got 6 hits, but again, they've only allowed 3. The Gamecocks lead at 5-1. Meantime, up at Clemson, the Tigers, after rallying last night, they got a home run late to rally for their victory. Jack Crichton hit his first career home run. Tigers beat Louisville 7-6. Now they're leading in the bottom of the 5th, 1-0. So they're getting some excellent pitching as well. Titsworth, making his first career start, is working on a 2-hitter through 5 innings. He struck out 2, and he has not walked anybody. It's amazing what you can do if you don't walk people. He has hit 1. Tigers aren't, again, they're not lighting it up with their offense. The only run is by Gerald, who homered in the bottom of the 5th. So 1-0 Tigers. Coastal and Marshall going to the 2nd. They're scoreless. And Northeastern defeated Charleston today. Up in Boston, they beat Jake Brink 4-0. Final score there. So Northeastern gets that win. Charleston managed just 5 hits, and so they take it on the chin. Okay, let's go to the break, and we'll come back with more. We got a lot more to do. We got many more notes. In fact, an interesting story at Clemson involving the gymnastics team. And if you have followed things from the hiring, you won't be shocked with what has happened up there at Clemson with the gymnastics team. That's coming up, plus more. We'll be back. Sports Talk, Friday night edition, here on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
Calling all turkey hunters, this is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Turkey season is coming soon. The most common accident while turkey hunting is failing to identify your target. Know the identifying features of a turkey. Make sure of your target and what lies beyond it before you pull the trigger. Remember, safe hunting is no accident. For more information on hunter education, visit dnr.sc.gov.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I'm not a case manager. I'm a lawyer for over 35 years. I don't charge 40% for your injury in your wreck case or any on-the-job injury. Call 803-765-2968 and ask for Jim Corbett, or email me, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com, for the experience of a lawyer handling your injury case. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968. Jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Put 35 years of experience to work on your injury case.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
It's Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. Friday, getting down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend.
It is indeed a Friday here on Sports Talk. It's a very busy Friday. Want to remind you, of course, we're over here at Hilton Head, and that's a great place to hang out. No question, a great place to vacation, but you can't all come to Hilton Head. Sometimes you got to go a little bit more north to Myrtle Beach and Garden City and Surfside Beach and Pawleys Island and Georgetown. Who is the king of the north of South Carolina? Well, that would be Jimmy Smith at James Smith Real Estate. He owns the North Beach at South Carolina. Not literally owns it, but you know what I mean. He's the man who's got his hands on all the properties there. And so give him a call and let him help you set up that upcoming summer vacation. That phone number is 843-237-4246. PawleysVacationRentals.com, 843-237-4246 for your perfect beach getaway. All right, so I'm sorry, what'd you say, Plummer? You said something about Missouri. What'd you say? Oh. I don't need indigestion this early in the program, so Bruce can wait. I want to get on to the Clemson women's gymnastics situation. Clemson put out today, and you know there's something behind this. They put out a terse statement that came out of the blue, a terse statement in which they announced the firing of their women's gymnastics coach, which is really redundant because there's no men's gymnastics coach. It was just the gymnastics coach. The statement was this.
There's no men's gymnastics coach.
But
there are men's gymnastics.
But not at Clemson.
Not at Clemson, correct.
I don't need to say women's gymnastics coach at Clemson. Amy Smith, quote, Clemson University has parted ways with Amy Smith. Director of Athletics Graham Neff announced Clemson will immediately commence a national search for its next head coach. End of the statement. That's all they said. So, obviously, there's something going on there. You know, she was hired at Clemson a couple of years ago, and as I recall, the media reports, there had been some issues in her time as a previous head coach, some allegations of some sort of like verbal abusive activity with players and over-the-top harshness and stuff, you know, the things we hear about. Apparently, Clemson investigated that, and they were satisfied that that wasn't going to be a situation here. But from what I'm told, the culture was not real good with the women's gymnastics team, and so they had to make this decision to part ways. Be back in a moment.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. Clear and comfy tonight with a low temp dipping down to 60. Tomorrow, more sunshine than clouds, will be warmer. The high temperature is 88. For Easter Sunday, cloudy all day, but we do stay dry. The high is 86. Next rain is set for probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Hey y'all, it's Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We're introducing our new healthy gluten-free menu. For your choices, we offer charbroiled certified Angus ribeye steak, juicy marinated grilled chicken dinner, fresh grilled salmon, authentic Greek salad, hamburger steak with grilled onions and melted cheese, shish kebab with grilled chicken, veggie blue plate with a choice of 4 vegetable selections, spring chicken salad, and of course, our famous slow-roasted pot roast. Come and enjoy a healthy gluten-free menu at Flight Deck Restaurant. We at Flight Deck Restaurant thank you, and God bless.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. 206 illegal immigrants with criminal records have been arrested in the New York City area by ICE agents. Those arrests came about during an operation from April 6th through the 12th. Authorities say more than half of those apprehended did have criminal convictions or are currently facing charges for crimes such as murder and assault. Some were gang members. The Trump administration has escalated its battle with Harvard, threatening to revoke the school's ability to host international students. That comes as the president called for withdrawing the school's tax-exempt status. Department of Homeland Security ordering the school to turn over detailed records of the school's foreign student visa holders' illegal and violent activities. No injuries when a Southwest Airlines flight was forced to return to Houston when the engine caught fire. No injuries at all. This is SRN News.
People hear me talking about Broker Solar and how much I like Ken and his team. They ask, hey, can I really trust this guy, Kev? Let me tell you two things. Number one, Ken and Broker Solar are legit. I've known Ken's family for 20 plus years. Seriously, these are local, ethical people. They're not going anywhere and they do things the right way. Number two, Broker Solar is so different than these stereotypes we've heard about in the solar industry. There's no signs on the yard making stupid promises they can't keep. There's no door knockers trying to pressure you at your own door. Ken and Broker Solar will tell you the truth, what it'll cost, and how your solar power investment will pay off. See, we can't pick our power companies. Broker Solar gives you a chance to take some control over your power bill, and I like that, and so should you. Online, it's brokersolar.com, and seriously, reach out to Ken and these folks. It could really make a difference in your quality of life. Brokersolar.com, empowering you so you're not powerless.
Tradition and quality. That's what you get with H&J Cattle Company, where local third-generation farmers ensure you receive the finest beef in South Carolina. Our registered Hereford and Wagyu cattle are raised with sustainable practices without growth hormones, antibiotics, or animal byproducts. Taste the difference with the highest quality beef guaranteed. Order now at HandJCattle.com or on Instagram and Facebook at H&J Cattle. Again, HandJCattle.com, where ethics meets quality.
Escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life with Spa MD, your sanctuary of rejuvenation. Feel the tension melt away as our expert team guides you through your customized wellness journey. From soothing massages to revitalizing treatments, we promise a remarkable experience that leaves you feeling renewed and empowered. Discover the calm within every visit. Reach out at 251-9400 or online at visitspamd.com to explore your options. Your oasis of tranquility awaits.
Some credit cards hit you with sky rates, annual fees, and surprise costs, but not here. Founders Federal Credit Union is proud to offer credit cards with rates below the national average, giving you more control over your own finances. Our Essential MasterCard rates are as low as 13.25 APR. Prefer rewards? Our rewards cards start at just 15.25% APR, so you can earn while you spend. And the best part? There are no annual fees and no balance transfer fees. Just straightforward savings designed to keep more of your hard-earned money where it belongs, in your hands. So whether you're looking to consolidate debt, build credit, or just want a smarter way to spend, we've got the right card for you. Visit foundersfederal.com/cc to learn more or apply for a new credit card today. Relax. You're with Founders Federal Credit Union. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Tune in at 6. Don't miss the vibe. South Carolina's pride. We're live. Sports Talk's the place to be. From the court to the field, we're breaking news free. Join the team. Follow X for more. We're taking over, that's for sure. Corn's insight, Bergen's wit, Cohen's energy. They're the perfect fit. 2 hours of sports talk bliss. Don't miss a minute of this. Sports Talk, the place to be. From the court to the field, we're breaking news free.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk on this frenzy Friday night around the state of South Carolina. I wonder what the crowd will be like in South Carolina tonight, Bergie, because you got the baseball game going on. Football's supposed to start about 7:30. Baseball will be over, so it appears. 5-2, top of the 8th. Ole Miss has just scored a run. They do have first and second, 2 men away. So if baseball finishes up, fans can make it over there, of course. Mm-hmm. And you got the RBC Heritage going on, and I walked around today, and that place is packed here. When I say packed, I mean you can move around, but I mean the fans are lining all the fairways, all the stands built behind the greens, behind the tee boxes, all appear to be filled to capacity. I mean, there's a lot of people here. I just wonder how many who are here are Gamecock fans who would have gone to Columbia. Maybe some are doing both. Maybe they came down, watched some golf, and then zipped it back to Columbia for the spring game. We'll see if they top Clemson's announced attendance of 35,000. Clemson announced their attendance at 35,000. The Gamecocks will come in at about 35,005.
Yes, and 2. Yeah, and 2 things worked for Clemson's advantage. First off, it was on a Saturday, and secondly, it was not over Easter weekend. I think that may hurt the Gamecocks. But here was a really good idea that the Gamecocks could have gone with. How about televise the game? That would have helped. I know it wouldn't help in-person attendance, but it would help people who are down at the RBC Heritage and want to follow the Gamecocks and find out how spring practice is going. This goes for Clemson as well. Put the freaking game on TV.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, their rationale was they don't want to tip their hand to anybody who might try to recruit players with the portal window opening up. Is that pretty ridiculous or what?
I think it is,
that's
but
kind of I mean, that's kind of a lame. That's kind of a lame thing. And they had the option, of course, of either doing the live thing or having ESPN put together a half-hour feature show on their program, an insider type thing. And so they opted for that. At least South Carolina did. I don't know if they offered that to the ACC teams or not, but they did to the SEC teams. 5-2, top of the 8th. South Carolina leading 1-0 Clemson, top of the 6th over Louisville, Coastal, and Marshall. Scoreless, top of the 3rd. Let's go to Bruce in Missouri. Knock out a quick phone call here on this Friday edition of Sports Talk. Hello, Bruce. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. The weather's fine right now, but we're going to get a downpour this weekend over here. But anyway, I'm talking about the guy that signed up for Carolina, and he changed his mind to go with the Texas. Now, if he signed that contract, now
you mean North Carolina? You mean North Carolina?
Oh, North Carolina. Okay.
North Carolina. North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
no.
That's
North Carolina is North Carolina, and South Carolina is Carolina. Now go ahead. Now we're clear.
Right.
Go ahead.
All right. Now he is a sham artist. He wasn't going to honor his contract if he signed it, and North Carolina needs to go after him and Texas, Tennessee, or wherever he went to.
Texas.
And they can sue him for being, dishonoring the contract.
How about the agent? How about the agent? How responsible is the agent?
Everybody included in the whole thing. They're shamsters. And this is what's going on with these transfer portals. They don't know what they need to do, and they change their mind. They think it's free to do that. They signed a contract. They got to live up to it. North Carolina's got
I agree with you. We actually, I think everybody listening to you, Bruce, we don't say this often, I think everybody agrees with you.
It stopped this crap going on with the transfer portal. It's not a free thing.
Thank you very much. Great hearing from you. It's nice to agree with you for a change. Yep, Bergie,
he's spot on.
This can't be good. This can't be good. I just don't understand how this can be good for anybody. How can this be good for your sport? How can this be good for college athletics as a whole, a particular sport in general? And we're seeing it more and more now. This is twice in our area that we paid attention to. This is twice where 2 players who allegedly signed with the school, one in basketball, one in football, just turned around and went somewhere else. I don't get it. I don't understand how you can do that.
Maybe it's semantics, but we need to get an explanation as to what exactly was signed. What did Eagle staff sign with the Gamecocks? What did this kid at North Carolina sign with the Tar Heels? Was it, as Bruce pointed out, was it a contract? Was it, the old NLI, situation, National Letter of Intent, even if they still have those? I don't even know if they use those anymore. But what did they sign? Because if it is a legal document, and Bruce is spot on, then the schools ought to start suing these kids. And maybe that stops it. I don't know, because right now this is not sustainable. If it was bad enough with Eagle staff signing, and I use that term loosely because I'm still not sure what he signed, but then 2 weeks later turning around and going elsewhere, this is worse. I mean, the kid obviously knew he wanted to end up at Texas, so why bother with North Carolina? Why sign? And then 2 hours later, you're in Austin getting ready to play for the Longhorns? I just don't understand.
I mean, is it as simple as he signs North Carolina, for X amount of dollars. And Texas not giving up, because why should they give up? Because there's no rule that says you have to give up. Came back with a bigger bag. And he goes, I don't care where I go to school. Chapel Hill, Austin, it's all the same to me. Why do I care? I'll just go where the money is. And, you know, people who agree with that is why we're in the mess we're in, because it's all about the money. It's not about anything else. It's not about character. It's not about sticking to your word. It's not about picking a school for maybe the idea of getting somewhat of an education and being involved in the culture of that school or whatever. I mean, I don't know, but the people who keep pushing this, the agents, the young people who think this is good, you're just wrong. You're just wrong, and I dare you to challenge any of us here who are adults in the room and convince us that it's right. This freedom, this so-called freedom that you expect to have, to be able to just agree and sign a contract and then just break it and walk away because you're getting – no, that's it, – if you ever get to the real world, you're in for a harsh awakening. You're in for a harsh awakening.
And the sad part about all of this, you have a college degree hanging on your wall at home. I've got a diploma here hanging on my wall. Where are the presidents of the universities in all of this? Isn't this still supposed to be some sort of an academic enterprise? I get it. I understand. I chuckle as I say that myself. But somewhere along the line, this is supposed to still be collegiate athletics. They are supposed to still be trying to get an education and a degree. That's supposed to be what this is all about, to go along with trying to make money for athletics. I mean, how in the world are any of these kids getting a degree when Rashad Amos, when he suits up at Georgia State in the fall, is going to play for his fifth school in 5 years? Isn't it 5 years, I guess, for him?
Yeah.
I mean, how is that even possible? How many credit hours are transferring to Atlanta with him?
The blood is on their hands as well, if not more than anywhere else. I mean, university presidents used to care about image and used to protect the image of college athletics. There's no one protecting. College athletics now is just looked at like a circus. It's looked at like Barnum and Bailey. That's what it is. Here come the elephants. Well, here come the giraffes. Here comes the great trapeze. That's what it is.
Maybe Carolina was ahead of its time when inside the Frank McGuire Arena we had the elephant room.
Yeah. I mean, it's what it's become, and it's just sad. I mean, sad. I hate it because I know what it used to be. And I listened the other night when we had Justin Falcinelli on talking about from his position as vice president of the College Football Players Association. If you didn't hear that interview, I recommend that you go look it up on our website.
He was terrific.
He was. And he has an argument for his people. He doesn't agree with what I believe, which is a college scholarship should be enough. I mean, he is of the mindset that because so much money is being made by college athletics that the players deserve more than that. That rationale, that's sort of like, let me just see if I can, that's sort of like if you work for Google in some capacity, just a regular employee at Google, and Google, goes from making $5 billion up to, say, $25 billion, that you should be making exponentially more as well. I mean, I'm sure they would give you a raise, they would give you more, but I mean,
sure.
Are you going to get as much as the suits who sit in the boardroom and make these decisions?
Oh, gosh, no.
It doesn't work that way. And so my thought has always been that a college scholarship is very, very nice, very important, and very lucrative. And now I'm willing to obviously adjust my thinking and agree that NIL, you're an athlete, you can go take advantage of your name, image, and likeness and go make money off of that, as much as you can make. But what's going to kill it all is the fact that the colleges are participating in the NIL process, and that shouldn't be happening. That shouldn't be happening, but nobody can stop it right now. And
I heard a report today.
Go ahead.
I heard a report today based off of Nico's situation, about to head out to UCLA. And part of the reason, this was a gentleman out of Knoxville who has some knowledge as to what's going on. As much as we all believe it's a money situation, evidently his father, according to this report, his father is so bat crap crazy that he was telling basically Josh Heupel, you've got to run this offense for my son to excel so that he can make more money when he gets to the NFL. And that's evidently why, at least as of right now, I have not seen him officially sign with UCLA. They may be having second thoughts as well as to whether or not they want to have a father of a player dictate to them how they run their offense, how they run their defense, how they run their program, just so that one player specifically can produce on the field and get more money when he goes into the NFL.
Unbelievable. Well, let me say this. I can't blame college athletics if it were a person. Let's give it a feeling of humanity. I can't blame college athletics for the position that it's in. It was dealt this hand by judges.
Fair.
We can agree or disagree on if the judges knew what they were doing. They obviously could not have considered the chaos they were going to create within the industry by what they were doing. I mean, you just don't make a ruling as a judge without having some idea of the impact and what it's going to do. I mean, that's like making a ruling on the car industry that says, I don't know, you got to have a certain type of rubber in your tire, and it just blows up the whole industry. That's what they've done here. They've blown up the whole industry of college athletics with their rulings because the judges believe that the players were being underserved with a scholarship only. I disagree with that, but that's what they ruled. Judges are judges. But now you can't blame the colleges for being put in that position, but you sure can blame them for how they're handling it. Now that they are in this position, they're not handling it well at all. There's no leadership. The NCAA has checked out. They're AWOL. The university presidents might as well be playing, cards somewhere with one another, bridge or poker, whatever they fancy. Maybe they're sitting down and playing chess. I mean, seriously, what are they doing? I mean, the athletic program is the front door to your university. I haven't heard one university president really stand up and acknowledge that there is a problem that they need to address. And then, of course, the coaches are running as wild as the players are. They're as much to blame. The people who are making the deals, who are backstabbing, other schools like we're seeing here, pulling a player away from another with a bigger and better contract, and the parents are bad, and the agents are bad. You got a whole coalition of bad going on here. And the problem is there is some good. There are good players, there are good parents, there are good agents who try to do it the right way. And still believe in doing it the right way. They're overshadowed by all the bad and all the bad publicity.
It's true of any enterprise, Phil. You can find any business around the country, anything that deals with money, it corrupts equally and it corrupts fully. And college athletics falls into that category. And as more money comes in, more corruption is going to follow. And and you're right. There are a lot of people. I would say probably 80% to 90% of the universities, the schools, the players, the coaches, all trying to do it the right way. But it's those 10% that are going to pull down the 90% because the 90% have to figure out a way to compete with the 10% instead of the other way around.
And the 10% make the headlines.
Indeed.
The 10% have us talking about them. So, yeah. All right, before we go to break, let's give you some coverage from here at the RBC Heritage, here from the guys who are doing it right out there today, beginning with the leader after 2 rounds, Justin Thomas. Of course, he had the 61 yesterday, 69 today. I believe this is, with today's 69, this would be his 7th straight round in the 60s here at Harbortown. He was in the 60s, round 4 and 23, and then all 4 rounds last year and 2 rounds today. I believe that's 7 straight rounds in the 60s for Justin Thomas. Here he is as he spoke with the media moments after walking off the 18th.
How did it feel out there today compared with yesterday? Different conditions late in the day, windy.
Yeah, the golf course felt completely different. It's definitely firming up. we even noticed it just kind of on some chips to pitch shots, like some wedges of ball. I mean, shots that I felt like I hit very nicely, and it just doesn't. It's not spinning as much, you know. They're getting crusty, and it's fun. I mean, this place is so cool. I think to play when it's like this, it just puts such an emphasis on precision, and you know, I need to drive it a little bit better than I did today to be able to put it in better spots. But yeah, it was a great grind to shoot a couple under today.
That shot on 15 was good. Can you say something nice about it? Better than I can write it?
Yeah, it was. It's probably ideally would love to have 5-wood into that green versus a 3-wood for just the aspect of getting it over the trees and both in front of you and that one tree that just kind of tends to be in the way sometimes on your second shot. But it really was a perfect number, and I mean, Joe did a great job there. He's, you know, he's still getting used to everything as much as I am, and we were kind of talking about the shot and trying to hit it right at the green. The tree was kind of in the way, and I was like, I mean, I feel like it's a good 3-wood number, and he's like, yeah. And then after I hit it, he goes, I'm so glad you said that, because I thought it was a perfect cut 3-wood, but I didn't want to say that. And so, you know, that's kind of the funny adjustments and things that we're working with. But it was nice to get it on the green there, and 2 is always a bonus.
Do you like this? Like, you've obviously won in many different type of golf courses. Do you like this type of golf, or more than even like maybe like big ballparks?
I do. I mean, I don't think I've necessarily had as much success here as, I mean, if you want to call them birdie fests or whatever it may be. But I still viewed this place that it can be like that. Like I understand yesterday is a bit of a one-off, but I mean, I truly do feel like every time I tee it up at a place like this or like Colonial, like I can. When I've played it, I mean, I can make a bunch of birdies. At Sawgrass, I feel the same way. If you get it in play, you can make so many birdies. It's just if you get it out of position off the tee, it's extremely difficult, and this place is even more so than those other spots. So I just think it's you have a lot of shots. You're not just grabbing a club off the tee and just hitting it. It requires way more thought and precision than that, I'd say.
How's it been having Joe on the bag generally?
It's great. It's great. We've had a lot of fun, and I think, you know, it's hard because I mean, I've always thought caddies are in a tough spot already, in kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, let alone when it's the second week he's ever caddied for me. And you know, he knows I'm playing well and he knows that I feel the same way, so he's wanting to help but also trying to not over caddy, and it's tough, but he's doing a great job. And it's more fun than anything just because he's got a great personality and sense of humor where I can make fun of him. And you know, it was some hole today we were talking about something. I was like, no, like it's a perfect this. And afterwards he goes, you know, you can tell me to shut up, like if it's the wrong club. And I was like, well, I kind of indirectly did. So I don't, so it's just a lot of stuff like that, but we're having good fun.
You've had chances to win this season, past seasons. Has there been any common thread when you get in contention on a weekend and it doesn't go your way that you've noticed, or has it been just different things that pop up?
I'd say so. I'd say the majority of it has just been pressing and trying too hard. I think it's so. I mean, all of us, I would assume and think want to win so bad, and I want to win so bad. I mean, I'm sick of getting asked, and I'm almost feel like kind of past the point where, fortunately, y'all have stopped asking me, which is nice. But I would also prefer to get that over with. But I think it's just that's something I feel like I did so well, you know, there for a couple of years, is I just let tournaments come to me, and I just trusted in my ability, and that's just really been my key this week, is I'm just trying to really trust my game and commit to what I'm doing, because I have a lot of faith and confidence in what I can do, so I just need to let it happen.
In 23, you talked about how the Ryder Cup kind of actively put pressure on yourself 2 years ago. Obviously, you didn't have your best season. Have you tried to not do that this year? Does that just help that your game's in a better state where you're not putting that pressure on, or how have you kind of learned from that experience 2 years ago?
It definitely helps. I think I did a lot better job with it last year, and I think I said it kind of in the fall or maybe the beginning of the year, but I'm kind of excited about playing a little pissed off for not getting picked for the President's Cup team. I mean, I don't think I deserve to, but internally I still always feel like I'm going to be a great addition, so it's a nice thing for me to get to do, and I really would like to put myself in a position where I'm not relying on a pick anymore, because it's not fun, and I can't really complain about getting picked or not getting picked if I just qualify. So that's the goal.
You sometimes play better maybe when you have a little chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, I think so. It's a fine line. Yeah, I mean, I can't get overly fired up about it, but I just think there's some things internally that it's kind of like it's a nice I told you so kind of thing.
Okay, Justin Thomas having a great start after 2 rounds. He's at 12 under, got a 2-shot lead going into the weekend. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he lost here once in a playoff. He's had a lot of playoffs in his career. I think one of his playoff losses was here at Harbortown a few years ago. And we'll hit the break, be back with more in just a moment. Don't go away.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosseller Brown. Did you know Lawyer Lisa offers a prevention plan add-on to our services? If you already have a trust or just need some updates, ask about getting your ducks in a row and getting all of your wishes set out before it's needed. Visit lawyerlisa.com for more information.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
The lottery is not about getting rich. It's about helping people, and it always has been. The lottery is what helped raise the Great Wall of China, build the roads of Rome, and today in South Carolina, it's what generates millions of dollars each year for scholarships like the SC Hope, Life, and Palmetto Fellows. The South Carolina Education Lottery is investing in you. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to learn more.
Hi, Phil Kornblut here with our good friend George Bryan III, heard every Friday night on Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps right here on Sports Talk. George, the Tsunami Bar, a very valuable tool for golfers. Why is that?
Well, the first thing that I say is the tempo. It's the only tool out there that allows the study of tension right from the first grab to be expressed, and rhythm and tempo is what makes the bar work, and it gives you something awfully special to keep those hands soft and get that rhythm going.
Learn more about Tsunami Bar technology by clicking on the digital ad on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and save 5% by purchasing online using the promo code BBB5.
Every time they were sure that you called, you were quicker than they thought.
Coming up on the top of the hour, Rudy Jones going to touch them all. Come back after the top of the hour. Recruiting, Matt Smith, and, of course, visit with George Bryan, Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps. As we get to Rudy, update the baseball. South Carolina leading Ole Miss, top of the ninth, 7-2. Clemson leading Louisville, 1-0, top of the seventh. Coastal and Marshall scoreless, top of the fourth. Northeastern beat College of Charleston 4-0. We'll have more on baseball coming up with Rudy as he takes a look at what's happening with the other schools around the states. We got a busy second hour coming up. Be back in just a moment.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. Supreme Court will hear arguments this spring on President Trump's plan to end automatic birthright citizenship. White House correspondent Greg Clugston.
On his first day in office, the president signed an executive order to end birthright citizenship for the children of people who are in the U.S. illegally. That order was halted nationwide by 3 district courts. During arguments on May 15th, the Supreme Court will consider whether those lower court judges exceeded their authority. In the meantime, the president's executive order remains blocked. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Pending merger between Capital One and Discover Financial Services, receiving approval from several regulators, bringing that $35 billion tie-up closer to completion. Federal Reserve and the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency signing off on the deal, which was first announced in February of last year. Also at townhall.com, rough weather in the Midwest.
A severe storm swept through parts of Nebraska and Iowa Thursday night. Guests staying at a Fremont hotel recorded video as large hailstones shattered hotel windows. And when they went outside,
here's our ride home tomorrow.
Their car windows did not fare much better.
All the cars, windows are gone.
The hotel itself looked as though it had been sprayed by gunfire.
Holy smokes. Every window's gone.
There were reports of more than a dozen tornadoes. Sound courtesy Chopper Hummel TMX. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
There were a lot of frayed nerves on board. No injuries, though, when a Southwest Airlines flight forced to return to Houston Hobby Airport when an engine caught fire. All 139 people on board evacuated safely. More on these stories at townhall.com.
It's official. Newsmax has become a news giant. It's even listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Over 40 million Americans regularly turn to Newsmax for the news they need to know. They're tuning into the Newsmax channel on all major cable systems. They watch Newsmax 2 on all streaming platforms. They go online to Newsmax.com for breaking headlines. Millions more have downloaded the free Newsmax app on their smartphone and home TV. Reuters says Newsmax is one of the top news brands in America. Even President Trump says Newsmax is terrific, and he's watching. Tens of millions of Americans like you have made the switch to Newsmax for the news they can trust. So make the switch today. You won't ever look back.
A former congressman says the United States should look to Africa as a new source of critical rare earth minerals currently being supplied by China.
Former Utah Congressman Chris Stewart says the trade war with China should be a wake-up call.
The national security industrial base is dependent on these critical minerals.
Stewart says it's time for the U.S. to look for new partnerships for rare earth minerals.
Why not help some of our friends in Africa, help them develop economically?
He says it's vital the U.S. develop a new and more reliable source of rare earth minerals.
The national security implications and the economic security implications are just enormous.
Stewart was interviewed by the Salem Radio Network. Bob Agnew reporting.
President Trump's executive order to boost U.S. commercial fishing industry has drawn praise from commercial fishing groups. Critics say cutting regulations would harm fish populations. Mr. Trump says his order will peel back those regulations. Breaking news and analysis, Town Hall.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. Clear and comfy tonight with a low temp dipping down to 60. Tomorrow, more sunshine than clouds, will be warmer. The high temperature is 88. For Easter Sunday, cloudy all day, but we do stay dry. The high is 86. Next rain is set for probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk on this Friday night. We come to you from Hilton Head Island, day 2 of the RBC Heritage 2025 in the books. Got a great leaderboard to be looking forward to over the weekend. If you're just joining us, it is Justin Thomas at 12 under, Siwoo Kim and Russell Henley at 10 under, Andrew Novak, Tommy Fleetwood at 9 under, Mackenzie Hughes and Scotty Scheffler at 8 under. Then at 7 under, Wyndham Clark, J.T. Poston, Brian Harmon, Colin Morikawa, Maverick McNeely. So really good leaderboard, some good scores. I don't think we're going to see anybody push this thing much more under par than maybe 14, 15 under par over the next 2 days, because I think the wind's going to be more of a factor tomorrow. The weather's going to be nice, but I think the wind's going to be more of a factor tomorrow. I would imagine that's going to make scoring a little more difficult. Of course, Thursday was really good for scoring. Today was good for scoring. The best round of the day is 64. I'm not so sure we'll get all that tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see what happens, of course, but could be a little bit tougher on the greens and on the fairways tomorrow here at Harbortown, with the wind up a little bit more according to the forecast. Okay, South Carolina has finished off Ole Miss 7-2. And with that, let's welcome in Rudy Jones for his weekly visit with us here on Sports Talk as we touch them all with Rudy Jones of Palmetto State Baseball. If you haven't looked at Rudy's website, his blog, we recommend it highly, Palmetto State Baseball. I go there every night to get my baseball scores around the state. If you're playing baseball in college in South Carolina, Rudy has got your number, and he's got your score. For example, North Greenville beat King today, 9-1. Who else knows that? Gaston College took a doubleheader from USC Salkehatchie today. Who else knows that but Rudy Jones? And now you know it too. Welcome in, Rudy.
Hi, Phil. How you doing, sir?
Terrific, man. Compliments to you on everything that you're doing with the website. And I know we'd like you to talk about the others around South Carolina, but what about the Gamecocks rising up here and taking 2 out of 2 from Ole Miss?
I tell you, it's amazing what you can do when your pitchers throw strikes and you play pretty good defense. I mean, they haven't really been tearing the cover off the ball, but they're getting the hits when they need them. And, I know that John Whittle was saying, over the weekend or last week, he said this team's, really not as bad as it looks. After those games against Texas A&M, and they're playing pretty good right now. And I'm sure that each time they win one of these games, they look back at a couple of those that got away and say, "Man, we'd be in a lot better shape if we'd have not lost this game to that game." 4-13 is better than nothing in the SEC, but I know they'd love to be 5-12 or 6-11 instead to have a better chance.
Yeah.
But hey, you got to win them all. You got to play them all. So I mean, they're doing what they need to do right now.
And there's still plenty of time left to get themselves back in a position to get into the NCAA tournament. Really, I shouldn't be using those words, but from an optimistic standpoint for them, there's still time to win enough games. They got enough time to win enough games to get themselves back in the postseason picture. Of course, Clemson continues to roll. They're winning today. It's 1-0 top of the 7th against Louisville. They went with Drew Titsworth today, a change in their rotation. It's paid off for them handsomely thus far.
Yeah, he, that's one thing Coach Bacchus has been able to throw some guys out there that they're doing the job. B.J. Bailey had has had a couple of great starts, and he was coming out of the bullpen. He had not done much. And right now, things are going well for Clemson. Whatever buttons they seem to push come up with the right result, it seems.
Yeah, what is it about this Clemson team under Bacchus? I'd like to know what the number is. Come from behind wins. I mean, really, you can't count these guys out almost any time they fall behind. They're going to make it interesting, if not win the ball game.
I got to cover the Florida State series last year, and you remember that game, a doubleheader. They were down big in both games. One of them, they came back down from like about 6 or 7 runs in the ninth to tie it and wound up winning both games. I think it's just that mindset of, as long as we've still got an outlet, we can win this game. And, I think that is that positive aspect of it, having confidence in your abilities, confidence in your teammates. And, it pays off big. Like you say, they go into every game thinking they've got a great chance to win.
Coastal Carolina winning right now 1-0 over Marshall. They're on a bit of a heater. College of Charleston lost to Northeastern 4-0. What else around the state's catching your eye this week and going into the weekend?
Well, one thing, I don't know if you happen to see it or not, but Mike Joyce for Florence Georgia Tech threw a no-hitter today against USC Sumter. He struck out 9 as a 7-inning complete game. Only the second no-hitter I'm aware of in the state by a state pitcher anyway. Carson Bay from USC Union threw one earlier in the season. You mentioned North Greenville doing well. North Greenville has won 15 straight games. That win for Florence Georgia Tech was their 14th straight, but they wound up losing, 13th straight. They wound up losing to USC Sumter on a walk-off single in the 10th inning of Game 2. It's good quality baseball, no matter the level. I mean, USC Upstate's been playing well. Winthrop is playing well. They're up 8-0 on Gardner-Webb. Oh, you mentioned Northeastern. I saw a note. That is the 10th shutout for Northeastern's pitching staff this year.
Whoa.
You talk about the win. They probably got like maybe 30, 31 wins. So, 10 shutouts, that's pretty stout. And, of course, the coach for the Huskies is Mike Glavin, brother of Tom Glavin. And Charleston been playing pretty well. I mean, but they just got shut down. Jake Brink took a shutout into the 7th. It was a 0-0 game going into the 7th. And Northeastern, I believe it was a leadoff triple, and that was what wound up getting the Huskies going. Elsewhere, let's see. Well, most of the games are actually starting early, of course, because of being Easter Friday, Good Friday, if you will. The only game that hadn't started yet is Bob Jones, and they're probably starting right about now. But, just a lot of good baseball. PC, they just tied up Radford in the 9th inning. They were down by a couple of runs. PC is the only state Division I team below 500. Now, that's a rarity for this late in the year for the state. They've lost like 3 or 4 straight, and they're like 16 or 20. But I tell you, to have 9 out of 10 teams at or above 500 at about basically a month from the end of the season is quite an accomplishment. One other little thing too. I hate it for Limestone. I know you've probably talked about this.
Yeah.
But and the terrible thing for the casual fan, you may not know, is Brett Harker, who is Limestone's coach, was the coach at Furman when they dropped baseball after the 2020 season because of COVID. Phil, how would you like to have 2 programs shot out from under you?
Unbelievable. And he's a good man. He's a good coach.
He is. And it sounds like it's going to take a miracle to keep the school open at all. But, he'll land somewhere. He is good, and he's got a good reputation. And I talked to one of his former players after Furman dropped baseball, who is now at Michigan State. He was in Greenville earlier this year, and he just raved on the atmosphere that Brett Harker created with the Furman program. He stays in touch with him and all too. Did all they could to help the guys move out after the program was dropped. And good guys, sometimes you have a struggle, but good guys wind up on top in the end.
Let's hope so, because he certainly deserves a break. To have that happen to him twice is ridiculous and just painful. And very sad about that whole deal at Limestone for all the students and the faculty and the athletes. The athletes now are scurrying to find someplace else to go. So, Rudy, as we head down the stretch of this season, you look around the state, who do you think is going to have a chance to win some championships here down the road? Or you think North Greenville's got what it takes to win another national championship? You see somebody making some noise in the junior college ranks. Who do you like?
Well, North Greenville's good again, of course. They're usually in the top 10 most of the polls. I'm not sure they exactly have the starting pitching they have had in the past, but they got a very deep bullpen, good balance up and down the lineup. Francis Marion is doing well under first-year coach Jeff Jefferson. They're actually only a game behind North Greenville. North Greenville was in a 3-way tie for first in Conference Carolinas going into today. I don't know what the other teams did, but they're going to be at least no worse than tied for first. Lander is having a great season in the Peach Belt Conference. They're up 1 game behind the leaders. And in junior college, Florence Georgia Tech, again, they've already clinched their 5th straight regular season championship in Region 10. They'll be the top seed for the tournament, which is going on in Lexington in early May. So they look like they're doing well and have a good chance at advancing to the Junior College World Series again. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I think that on the Division I level, of course, Clemson, Coastal, College of Charleston, they're in a little bit of trouble now. They're now 4 games back on Northeastern in the standings. Of course, they can still win the tournament. Unfortunately, that may be a one-bid league. Charleston should have gotten in last year, I thought, even though they didn't win the conference championship. But, sometimes reputations are hard to break, hard to overcome. But, I think it's going to be a good last month of the season. Of course, a lot of the Division II teams actually start tournament play the last week of this month.
Yeah.
So they're winding up conference play this weekend and next weekend.
And I'm shocked to let you go after this. I was just looking at your scoreboard. Limestone is playing. They got beat by Wingate. So the Limestone baseball team, after the news that they had this week, is still out there playing. What do you think of that?
And sadly, I know it had to be a gut punch. They were up 5-4 going to the bottom of the bottom of the eighth, and gave up 4 runs. And, one quick thing, I know you want to go. I read online on Twitter, of course, Twitter's the authority, everything's correct. Somebody said there were around like 800 athletes at Limestone. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, counting, of course, intramurals or whatever, but if there are that many kids out of the student body that are actually athletes, that's just a tremendous blow to a lot of people, a lot of families. I know they don't get full rides, but even what little bit they get and some recognition and to just help pay for the books or whatever it is, that's going to be tough for a lot of folks to overcome. And I hope most, if not all of them, can overcome it and, land somewhere that'll turn out to be better for them.
We should all get together and just buy the university and save them and bring them back. We'll call it the Rudy Kornberge Institute of.
I love it. Advanced technology.
Advancing.
I've got $10 American I can add to the fund right now.
Hey, you have a great weekend. Enjoy baseball. Happy Easter to you. We'll talk to you next week.
Phil, I hope you have a great Passover and y'all have a great week too.
Thank you, Rudy. Appreciate you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that Limestone story. That's just. It's been a sick week. A lot of bad things this week. It's not been a good week in a lot of different ways, and that's one of the bad pieces of news right there. Okay.
And a credit to those kids in that team real quickly, Phil, for showing up to play today.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
I could buy it and call it the Plummer University.
That's what I'm talking about.
Good call, Plummer. You got
Flush
the money.
you.
I know your family. I know you got the money. That wouldn't $6 million to your family. Y'all spend that much.
Flush you.
Y'all spend that much when you go to Golden Corral. I mean, come on. Got plenty. All right, we're going to hit the break, and we'll come back with the recruiting report. And then the very handsome Matt Smith, who's got a lot of money as well. And he went to Limestone. Maybe we'll get Smitty to buy it and call it Smithtown University. Smitty will join us for a few minutes over at Williams-Brice, just to kind of give us a feel for what's going over there at the spring game. Unusual on a Friday night. Back in a moment.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there. If you're looking to grow your business, Sports Talk is here to help. Whether you're a small business owner or part of a large company in the Palmetto State, we want to hear about what you do. Sports Talk has a proven track record of delivering real results to our partners, and advertising with us is probably more affordable than you think. Our network of affiliates gives us the flexibility to work with budgets of all sizes, and our statewide coverage means that whether you're in Greenville, Orangeburg, Chesterfield, Charleston, Woodruff, or anywhere in between, your future customers are listening to Sports Talk every night. Radio remains one of the most efficient effective ways to reach potential customers, and with our extensive reach across South Carolina, your message will be heard. Every business has a story, and we're here to help share yours. Let's find success together. Email us at sportstalkmedianetwork@gmail.com or visit sportstalksc.com to learn more about how we can help grow your business.
Now through May 31st, 2025, buy the house now, reset your rate later with Mortgage Reset from Founders Federal Credit Union. Open a new mortgage or refinance an existing mortgage and get the lowest rate you qualify for now. Set up direct deposit, and then you can reset your rate once for free at any time rates drop. That's right. At any time during the life of the loan, you can reset your rate to the lowest rate you qualify for at that time at no additional cost. It's that easy. Visit foundersfcu.com/mortgage to learn more. Find your local mortgage loan officer or to start your application. You can always start your application and save your progress to complete later. Not a member with Founders yet? Don't wait. Visit us online or stop by an office to see if you qualify for membership. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required. Equal housing lender. Institution NMLS. Identifier number 410646.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell.
To the recruiting report we go on this Friday edition of Sports Talk. It is brought to you by Seawells. Make sure you get to Seawells next week for the daily luncheon buffet from 11 till 2. Best in the business, that is Seawells. And the very best in the catering business, that would be Seawells as well, for nearly 80 years. 80 years, count them up, 80 years. They have been at it, and they have been the best in South Carolina. SeawellsCateringSC.com. Phone number 803-771-7385. So, of course, today Clemson got the commitment from receiver Gordon Sellers, 6'3", 195 of Charlotte. Chose the Tigers over South Carolina, Ohio State, Michigan, and Georgia. Quick story, he was going to have a press conference at noon with the hats and spill the beans at that time. But prior to that, he did a video interview with Robert Griffin III and some other person, and they put that out before his press conference.
Oh, no.
And
Oops.
So, yeah, and I happened to see it before the press conference, and he was on it talking about going to Clemson. So they actually scooped him on his own press conference. I guess he's okay with that, but that was kind of interesting. Basketball, Utah transfer 6'9", Mike Shurajamitz. I'm sure I'm not even close. Visiting
No,
South Carolina
off.
This weekend, as per
Sharab
John Whittle. Sharab Jumps.
Mm-hmm.
He started his career at Dayton, 7 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists per game last season. He is a native of Mongolia, the only native of Mongolia in D1 basketball. South Carolina officially announced the signing of 6'8" Elijah Strong, the transfer from Boston College. Football, North Augusta offensive tackle Malcolm Gaston is going back to USC tonight for the spring game. He also visited last weekend. He's not been offered by them yet. 27 offensive tackle Nate Carson of Irmo going to be at South Carolina tonight. South Carolina target safety KJ Johnson of Birmingham going to Ole Miss this weekend. Timberland product North Greenville and Austin Peay transfer safety Gavin Edwards offered by Maryland, Wake Forest, and Iowa. Defensive end Carter Meadows of Washington was at South Carolina on Thursday. Defensive tackle P.J. Dean of Clemens, North Carolina, was also at South Carolina on Thursday. Wes Mitchell, Gamecock Central, reported that running back Carson Baker of Fairburn, Georgia, will be at the South Carolina spring game tonight. And we've gone over many other expected visitors at South Carolina tonight. And also wanted to mention that Charleston Southern basketball signed brothers, 6'8", Georgia Southern transferred Nate Bradford and his 7-foot brother, a transfer from Siena, Devin Bradford. They are going to Charleston Southern. And we are done with recruiting here on Sports Talk. And we are going over to Williams-Brice Stadium to visit with our man, Smitty, Matt Smith, who has been a busy little bee doing a lot of different things. And he joins us now from Williams-Brice Stadium, where the Gamecocks will be kicking off the spring game in about 5 minutes or so. Smitty, how are you? Welcome in.
I am good, and boy, it feels almost like one of those early fall days here at Williams-Brice because the sun is beating down on us as everybody's making their way from the tailgate into Williams-Brice Stadium. But I do have a couple of notes, although I did get much out of watching the players warm up. It was toss, and, just not a lot of good on good out there in the pregame warm-up, so we'll have to report back and keep an eye on SportsTalkSC.com and our Twitter because then we'll get you some hard notes from what we see out here. But I can tell you Lenore Sellers is starting for the black team. It is Garnet versus Black, and I don't expect to see much of Lenore Sellers because the other quarterback for the black team is Air Noland. And there are some veteran receivers on that black side as well, like Jared Brown, Vandrevius Jacobs, Mazio Bennett. So I anticipate a lot of Air Noland playing with those veteran receivers, kind of getting them ready and see what kind of chemistry they might have. We already know Stillers has great chemistry with Jacobs, Brown, and others. And running back Rasul Faison is also on that black side. He's the 6-year transfer running back from Utah State. Who comes in with eye-popping stats, and he's certainly a veteran. I'd like to see how he fits in, especially running, some of that option game with Lenore Sellers. And on the guard, Cody is playing quarterback, so we need to, note that. Even though Will Muschamp, Dow Loggins, Shane Beamer, I've heard them all sat in press conferences where they have all said he's one of the best 11 athletes. He has to be on the field. He's got to get reps at receiver or something, and yet here he is again in the spring game playing quarterback. Oscar Attaway Jr., or as the third, is on his team, on the Garnet team, and of course we're all questioning if he's ready to get consistent carries, now kind of stepping up now that there's no Rocket Sanders. And on that side, that's where you get some of the highly touted young receivers, Phil, that you've been reporting on, like Jordan Gidron, from Ridgeview, a Blazer who's a Blazer, track star from Ridgeview. He's still just 17 years old, so he's going to be playing on the Garnet side. Jaden Sellers is on that side as well, so you won't get to see a Sellers connection tonight. He's playing with the Luke Doty side, and Malik Clark is also on that side on Garnet, a football finalist, Mr. Football finalist, who we, of course, tracked all the way through his high school career, and so we'll be seeing Luke Doty playing quarterback, and Dante Reno is the other quarterback on that side, the Garnet side. So I think there may be some method to this madness, and they wanted to see Air Noland with the veteran receivers. I don't know what they're trying to do with Luke Doty, but I'll keep an eye on him to see if he does get some reps at wide receiver just to see how he fits in with what is now a very deep and talented wide receiver room with Bennett and Bryant. Hobbled a little bit by injuries at times last year, but now they're the veterans. And then you've got all of those players, young players like Malik Clark, who are coming in, highly touted. You covered their recruiting, and a lot is to be expected out of them. And, of course, Nick Harbor, who I didn't even mention, he's also on that Garnet side.
Excellent. Real quick, how's the crowd look? What would you say real quick?
I don't dare put a number on it, but the lower bowl is filled on one side. That's all I'll say. I'll report back.
You got it, brother. Thank you. Great job. Make sure you follow Smitty on our X account, which is SE Sports Now, SE Sports Now. And, of course, he'll have postgame on the website, SportsTalkSC.com. Birdies, bogeys, biceps coming up.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. Clear and comfy tonight with a low temp dipping down to 60. Tomorrow, more sunshine than clouds, will be warmer. The high temperature is 88. For Easter Sunday, cloudy all day, but we do stay dry. The high is 86. Next rain is set for probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
The Point.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. Hundreds of illegal immigrants with criminal records have been arrested in New York by ICE agents. Officials say more than half of those apprehended did have criminal convictions or are currently facing charges for crimes such as murder and assault. Many were gang members. Maryland Democrat Senator Chris Van Hollen has met with Salvadoran Kilmar Abrego Garcia while in El Salvador. He says the situation just isn't about Abrego Garcia. He claims it's about protecting the constitutional rights of everybody who resides in the United States. President Trump isn't buying that. He says Abrego Garcia is not the man Democrats claim. President Trump says negotiations between Ukraine and Russia are coming to a head, and he insists that neither side is playing him in his push to finally end that war. This is SRN News.
Nobody plans for a plumbing problem. They come unannounced and usually at a very inconvenient time. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is your trusted ally. They recognize just how vulnerable a customer is at this time, and they want to help. They have well-trained plumbers who are there to make a difference when you need it most. I've experienced this. They're knowledgeable about their craft. They're not coming to your house to pitch new products. If something is broken, they'll give you a price to fix it if it's possible, or a price to replace it if necessary. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is also locally owned and operated, or I simply wouldn't endorse them. Josh and his team prioritize customer service above everything else. They handle every issue with care and precision. Those are not just words. I've had Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning out to my home. They back up those words with their actions. If you have a crisis, get some peace of mind. Online, you find them at franklinplumbing.sc.com or you call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. I'm absolutely positive they will make whatever is wrong right again. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning.
If you step onto H&J Cattle's farm, you'll find third-generation farmers upholding the legacy. They embrace sustainability and take immense pride in their craft, raising cattle purely on nature's offerings, without growth hormones, antibiotics, or animal byproducts. The result? Unmatched quality beef that's not just good, it's the best in South Carolina. Experience the distinct flavor of our finest registered Hereford and Wagyu beef. Visit us online at hdjcattle.com or on Instagram and Facebook at H&J Cattle.
Hi, I'm Thomas.
And I'm Mary Catherine.
From Louisiana Purchase. We serve authentic New Orleans cuisine, like fully dressed po' boys and muffaladas with olive salad.
Hey, tell them about Cypress Corner.
Red beans and rice, jambalaya.
Where we have local art, home decor for every season.
And we do catering and charcuterie board.
Thomas, the gift shop.
Okay, honey. While you're there, check out Cypress Corner, our in-house art gallery and gift shop.
It's so cute. You've got to come see it.
Louisiana Purchase, St. Andrews Road in Irmo, and at louisianapurchase.com.
Are you ready to have a boatload of fun this spring? Sail on down to your local Palmetto State Armory store and deck yourself out in our new lifestyle t-shirts, hats, and fishing shirts. Seize the day with brands like Hey Dudes, Costa, Turtle Box, Local Boy, and more. Our selection of rifles, pistols, and shotguns is sure to impress. So don't be left fishing for something to wear once the warmer weather has arrived. Check out one of our 9 retail locations or PalmettoStateArmory.com to outfit your next adventure.
Want to hear my success story? I'm Fran Halloran, the money coach. I'm celebrating a decade of partnering with The Point. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. I've used The Point to significantly grow my small business. It started with a meeting with Kevin Cohen. Do you own a small business? Are you on a limited budget? No problem. Reach out to Kev at 563-8558. Get a customized plan and start your journey to business growth with The Point today. Success is one call away. Take the leap.
Straight down the middle, it went straight down the middle. Then it started to hook just a wee, wee bit. And that's when my caddy lost sight of it. That little white pellet has never been found to this day. But it went straight down the middle, like they say.
Oh. Plummer, spare us from the solo, if you would, please. That was not
just
harmonious.
In your ears, Phil. It was just in your ears.
Not harmonious whatsoever. There's only one person on this broadcast that can carry a tune like whoever that is that's singing that song. Who is that? That's what's his name?
Oh man, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name though.
Bing Crosby.
Yes.
Bing Crosby. Yes. And you know who carries a tune on the golf course with that sweet swing, the sweet sound of wood meeting ball. Well, that was the old days. Now it's whatever they make, graphite meeting balls, or whatever you have in your driver these days. Welcome in George Bryan III, birdies, bogeys, and biceps, a man who happens to know what it's like to walk inside the ropes here at Harbortown under the pressure of competition. George, welcome in. Great to have you with us once again.
What a privilege. And it's going to be fun. I mean, this is our time of year. This is it's for South Carolina. This is the golf season. Now, last week, Augusta, that's pretty special. I feel like that's us, but it's on the other side of the river. This is hometown. A lot of fun.
What do you recall about your days playing in the RBC? Well, it wasn't RBC back then, but playing in the Heritage. How many times did you play in the Heritage?
So many I can't count. One.
What do you remember about that?
It was fast, incredibly fast. It was really cool because I stayed Vic and Maxine Roof, the Roof family. They had a house on number 10 right by the clubhouse. And so Wesley George, Mary Chandler, my wife, we went down during the summers, and we'd stay in that house, and we'd play Harbortown late in the evening. They were little munchkins, but the week was really fast. And during that week, I got a chance to stay right there with the Roof family and lots of friends. I remember the fellowship, family, most, and it was quite an experience. It was the second time I played inside the ropes. I played at Medina a few years earlier, and so anytime you get to play at that level on a special golf course like Harbortown, it's a rush. It's a thrill. Heart rate stays up pretty high all day, and I slept really good at night because there wasn't anything left.
Now, I know you qualified for the PGA at Medina through the process that you could qualify. What got you into the Heritage that year?
A qualifier. It was a one-day qualifier, and that qualifier during the time was at Wexford. And the wind was blowing about 40 miles an hour during that qualifier. And that's about the only reason I got in. My ball was going about 2 to 4 feet off the ground, and I putted really good. I didn't have many forced carries, and it was, I don't know, it was miraculous. But it seems like just yesterday, but that was over 20 years ago. Unbelievable, 2004.
Well, as we all know, the wind here can do crazy things. When it's working for you, it sort of makes this place barren, but when it's working against you, it can make it a bear. Wind's going to pick up some tomorrow based on the forecast that I've seen. The weather's still going to be nice. It's going to be a little stronger wind, so we'll see if that impacts things. What do you make of the first two rounds? JT he's spot on right now. He's dialed in. He's ready to win again. He's 12 under, 61-69. That would be, George, if I'm not mistaken, 7 straight rounds in the 60s for him at Harbortown. That's pretty impressive.
That's quite impressive, and there are some players right there very close. It's wonderful to see Andrew Novak, and he is so due to win that, and we need another South Carolinian to win that golf tournament. Technically, I'm not sure Andrew is actually from South Carolina. I know he went to Wofford.
Yep.
And then, although Russell Henley, he's not a South Carolina native. He spent quite a bit of time in Charleston. He's sitting right there, and those two guys, right? If it's not JT, it would those would be my two picks to give JT that run. And my guess is the wind has been anything but in the face on 18. I didn't watch any of the telecast. That wind, when it blows into the face of the players on 18, that's a little more difficult scoring wind.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, since you bring that up. You're right. The wind hasn't been a problem at all through the first two rounds. I mentioned this earlier, but I'm no expert. Maybe this is common. But I watched Tommy Fleetwood on 9. The wind was at his back. Now, you know how far back they've got those tees at number 9 now. But he hit his drive basically pin high, but off into that open area to the right. You can't really drive the green because I don't think you can negotiate that bunker and keep it on the green, that bunker that protects the front. I don't know if you can get it up that high and that soft for it to stick. But he hit it to the right, but it was long enough to be on the green had it been straight. Is that normal?
Oh, yeah. These guys will take driver on that hole. And, you know, I cannot say that I've seen a ball on the green from the tee. Many in the bunker and where you just mentioned. And it's one of those, if you just hit a really good iron shot off the tee, get the yardage, that wedge shot, the wedge shot is not that difficult. So it's a beautiful, just one of the best short holes in all of golf and one of my favorite places to watch from.
It is. It is obviously a great place to watch, and there are thousands and thousands of people here lining the fairways, surrounding the greens. As far as I could tell, the holes that I saw, all the grandstands are full. The fans love this event, and they are here. Before we continue, George, we heard from Justin Thomas earlier on Sports Talk. Here's a little bit with Andrew Novak, who shot a 65 today, 68-65. He's 9 under. He's 3 off the lead. He is a Wofford guy, so we claim him here in South Carolina. So, George, if you don't mind, here is a little bit with Andrew Novak as he talked with the media right after his round today.
Been putting well. I feel pretty comfortable on these greens. Obviously, grew up not too far from here, so this is the stuff I grew up putting on, and I've had a good feel for the speed. And off the tee, I haven't put myself in too many bad spots, so I've been able to maximize my opportunities to make birdies.
This season you have a bunch of top results. Missed cut's been kind of volatile. Anything that you feel like explains maybe why when you're playing well it's peak weeks and it's not going well in the others?
I've been fighting the swing a little bit. Even today I had a couple of swings where it's a little loose on what I'm trying to do. And on the weeks when it's been rough, it's been hard to kind of find it. It is on this tour a little bit better to have those top finishes and poor finishes. You'd rather that than finishing 30 every week. So I'm cool with it. Ideally, I'd like to tighten up some of the swings, but this week's been pretty solid.
What you have with your game, is it enough
to win? Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I keep putting myself in position, especially lately. The way I've been putting, I think statistically last year I showed like I could from tee to green basically keep up, but I was definitely lagging behind with the putting, and I think what I've shown this year with the putting, when I put it together each week, I keep putting myself in contention. One of these times I do think will go my way. I just got to get more comfortable in those situations.
Is there something that you worked on with your putting over the off season that's made it better?
Yeah, I did just testing. Basically, I got a new putter. I changed basically the flange of the putter, the neck of the putter. I've gone to a little bit different mold. I went from a plumber's neck to a slant neck, and that, to get technical, basically I was over-rotating the face through. I was basically pulling every putt, and I was just adjusting for that. And the slant neck was allowing the face to open up more on the takeaway. And so when it comes through and I'm closing it, it's basically squaring it up a lot more consistently for me. So I'm actually starting putts on my line and not having to deal with pulling every putt and adjusting.
I think what I meant, if I could try again for a more intelligent question, is when you talk about tightening things up, are you in the midst of changing anything, or do things just kind of get loose every now and then?
No,
that's what I meant by
things did get loose. I would say Houston was Houston was where it really kind of, I don't want to say like rock bottom, like I've definitely hit worse than that, but that was really where it kind of bottomed out. I was really struggling with some things, got with my coach. He actually came out to Valero, and we got some things together. I wouldn't say Valero is perfect. I managed my game really well that week. There were still a few hiccups with the irons, but it's coming along. It's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect. It's golf, but it's just something I've been working on, and I can hit the ball well enough to play here. I just got to be conscious of what I'm doing and trust what I'm doing when I'm going into shots.
Well, since you brought the word up, from the time you left college, what was rock bottom? Have you had one of those rock bottom
just
moments?
My worst ball striking was definitely out of COVID. I probably missed. I won a Korn Ferry event right before COVID.
The one in Florida.
Right, and then we came out, and I think I missed 12 of 14 cuts from that summer on through that year. I was fighting my swing bad. I had to put a lot of work in that off season to kind of figure things, back out. I would say that was about as frustrated as I've been with my swing in the past.
Okay, comments right there from the man who's in the hunt for his first PGA Tour victory. We all think he's going to get it eventually. Andrew Novak. George, where he talked about a loose swing and having to tighten it up, you could hear the reporter ask him more about that. So from a coaching standpoint, what do you do? What will his coach work with him on?
His is pretty good. His golf, he's really a good ball striker. So I wish I could just give you that answer. I can't in his case. Typically what will happen is they never get too far off anymore. That's a fact. So his loose is tighter than most. That's a fact.
Well, now let me ask you this. You golf coaches, and you're an instructor, and you're a golf coach. Are you sort of like doctors in that you don't like to talk about other doctors' patients? Like he's got his own coach, and you don't from afar want to diagnose or talk about his symptoms, just like you wouldn't want people talking about people you coach.
I've never been compared to a doctor. Impatient, I'll tell you what, this game will make you go medical. No question in the head. And, I just look at it as, again, it's so unique. And with somebody like Andrew Novak, he's really a great ball striker. And he doesn't have the Robo Tour Pro swing. And if I was guessing, it's probably something like alignment, posture, ball position. I know I'd heard in Golf Channel magazines and heard for a long time what Tiger Woods and Butch Harmon worked on. And so I get to Medina hitting balls right beside him 5 consecutive days. He's right in front of me, and Butch Harmon's right behind him. We didn't work on any of that stuff. Nothing. It was all simple stuff. Biggest surprise I've ever had. I actually talked to Butch Harmon just a little bit there, not much.
Yeah.
And we giggle about it. These guys, they're not working on the intrinsic principles, most things. It's little things like alignment, posture, ball position. Occasionally they'll work on, if they a little steep, they'll shallow it out. They're so dialed at that point that they make these minor little adjustments. So, like I said, his loose is ultra tight compared to most.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody is quite different, and that's in my belief. And your tendencies are going to be a little different than Chris's and Josh's, and so
Josh doesn't have any tendencies.
We talked about that. We need to get him out.
Yeah.
We need to get him out.
Let's go to women. South Carolina women won the SEC championship today. Earlier this week, the Furman women won the Southern Conference championship at your place at Salina. Bob Gillespie was telling me he was out there covering it, watching it. He said Salina looked spectacular. And so congrats to you and everybody else out there involved. Y'all have taken that track, and you have made it into a a crown jewel here in South Carolina. So what about the Furman women winning the SoCon, and then today the South Carolina women taking down the Florida Gators to win the SEC championship?
Oh, spectacular. And we've had Coach Kalen on the phone with Coach Hester at the same time. What great sports they have been in the past, and it's it'll be fun. I'm sure we'll be able to get Coach Kalen on the phone to listen to her talk about success in that format, and we've discussed this.
Mm-hmm.
The match play. So it's stroke play. They actually won both sides of it. That's total domination. And it'll be fun to listen to how she speaks of that. And then at Furman, and you mentioned me and that kind of thing at Salina, it starts with the construction superintendent staff. Patrick Reese is the superintendent at Salina. Troy Thrall is the general manager, and Greg Middleton is the proprietor. And Greg Middleton assembled a team, and that team, it did include George and Wesley, does include George and Wesley, which are my children. And all these young men do an amazing job. And the things, I appreciate Bob passing that along. The course is in really great condition for how young it is. But there are great people out there, too, that have supported Salina, and so a wonderful membership. And it's a championship track. In fact, the Salina Golf Club will host the U.S. Open local qualifier on April 30th. That'll be another chance for us to talk about some of the local players.
I got to get my tee time. I'd like an afternoon tee time if you don't mind, so we'll talk about that. Listen, I can't let you go. I can't let you go tonight without bringing up the elephant in the room, and that's your son Wesley, who made some news this week, or the PGA did, by suspending him because of that little tournament that he played in with some friends, golf creators that involved live golf people, and the PGA suspends him for who knows how long. Your reaction to what they did?
All right, that'll be fun. But first, I do need to go ahead and make the comment about Furman and winning the event. I talked about the golf course, but Jeff Hull and his team did a wonderful job. Just was in control of the event from start to basically finish. And Jeff Hull goes back. I've known him for over 40 years. He played at South Carolina. And so congratulations to Coach Hull and the Paladins. And so now I will move right along and comment on that. So that did not come out of left field. Wesley has been in timeout before, and that's a fact. He's loved pushing the envelope. He likes to find where the parameters are. And the YouTube golf and what he and his brother have done since about 2013 or 14 has been just, I'll just say it mildly, incredibly fun, interesting, and just brand new to golf. The trick shots weren't new, but the way he and his brother introduced it was a different format. And then the YouTube, that was more G4, and he got his brand of YouTube started. He's one of the pioneers of that. And as they hooked up and did more together on the golf course, they drew others into YouTube space, and maybe there were one or two before. And so with that, the YouTube, the Creators Cup, it's about growing the game and making it more entertaining and giving what I just call, it's just another flavor, another idea to go along with the game for the fans to enjoy. It's recreation-based. It's not the cutting edge of competition, as we talk about, and we have for 30 years on the PGA Tour. So Wesley was. The facts are this, and I can only talk about the facts. He was warned by the PGA Tour that what he was going to do, he tried to get permission and was denied. So he went ahead and did what he thought it was best, what he thought he believed in most in his heart. It was not just something that, he just reacted and decided on the spur of the moment. In fact, there was much talk about it. There was even much prayer about it. He and his family first, and so he understood the consequences. He tested the fence, and the PGA Tour did exactly what they said they would, and they suspended him. So he gets to spend more time with his family now, Phil. He's got a precious little girl and a beautiful wife, and he chose, and this is what he said, which, I don't know. You got children, Phil. How would you react if your children said, hey, I want to spend more time with my brother or sister and my family instead of traveling all the time?
I get that. I can sign off on that. The brothers have the Bryan Bros. The Bryan Bros have made a name for themselves with what they've done, and hopefully, from a financial standpoint, that's given them all they need and more. And maybe they don't. Maybe he doesn't need the PGA Tour. It just seemed a little bit from reactions I've read from others, George. There were I think another PGA person involved, another PGA Tour person involved who was not suspended. And it just, to some people, it seemed awfully heavy-handed by the tour to come down on him like that for this sort of thing.
Well, I'm not sure if there was another PGA Tour player that was involved. There was another professional, Grant Horvath, and George, his brother, is a professional, but they're not PGA Tour card holders. There's a big difference. And, I don't know the extent. I have not been privileged to jump in and figure out those details, and it's not real complicated. You sign a contract that says you're going to adhere to the rules of the PGA Tour, and they had pressed into some areas. In fact, the PGA Tour allowed them to cross over and do things that were pretty much in writing. They were pushing the lines, but they were warned. Wesley was warned, and he's the only PGA Tour card holder that was affected by this, to my knowledge. Mm-hmm. There could have been some Korn Ferry players back, and like I said, I don't keep up with the facts, those details probably as I should, and hopefully there'll be some sort of call it appeal or something that could happen. Hey, I always am hopeful that there would be a merger. I mean, I never understood quite the hate for the LIV Tour, and I don't want to go down that road, but there's nobody really clean out there. Nobody's really good and really clean, Phil. How about that? Mm-hmm. And they all go to Dubai, and they all go the World DP Tour. They go there and they participate in those events in that part of the world, and they accept the prize money there for one event. They just decide to come up with a whole tour on it. I'm not sure I get all the, and I hear that music. I know what that means. That means spirits and food, and once again, congratulations to the Paladins, the Gamecocks, and I look forward to next week, and that's my sign-off. You have fun down there in Hilton Head. See them high and shoot them low.
Thank you, George. As always, a pleasure. Thank you, Chris Bergen.
Yes, sir. That was fun this week.
It was. Clemson has won its game, by the way. And thank you, Plummer. Have a great weekend, everybody.